everyone, Kristen McDonald back to show you an edible Valentine's Day bouquet. I am just coming off of enjoying a beautiful snow day with my family, and we've been gearing up for Valentine's Day during the month of January, and this is a great tradition we started last winter. You may have received an edible bouquet previously as a gift, and I thought, why not create this at home with my kids? It kind of is a craft or an activity that I can do with them, and then a healthy snack that we can eat afterwards. You can really tailor this activity to your family's likes as well. I am using apples, strawberries, blueberries, and marshmallows dipped in chocolate today, but you can also use fresh pineapple. I'm gonna dip in a little bit of sprinkles and crushed almonds. You could dip in something like mini M&Ms as well. So there's a lot of variation you can do with this recipe to make it look how you want and taste how you want. So, and very minimal cooking as well. I'm actually gonna melt a cup of semi-sweet chocolate chips in the microwave, and I'm going to do this in 30-second intervals, because if you overheat your chocolate, it can seize up and it won't have that smooth texture that we need to dip the pieces in. So I'm going to get that started here, and while I'm doing that, definitely going to let it go for the first 30 seconds, but on the next interval I'm going to stop and kind of mix it halfway through to see if it needs longer. I'm also going to show you how I cut up my fruit. So you can see I put 3 blueberries on a skewer, and I cut my strawberry into a heart shape. And you don't have to dip all of these pieces in chocolate either. I find that if I mix it up with chocolate dipped pieces as well as just pieces of fruit, my kids will dive into both. So I just cut kind of a V out of the top of that strawberry, and it turns it into a heart shape. So on these little bamboo skewers that you can get at the grocery store, I'm going to put 3 blueberries and then a strawberry. I'm going to do my other ones, and then I'll check on the chocolate. So just an easy little V shape out of the top to make it look a little bit more like a heart. And then I will put blueberries on. And then I will put the strawberry on top. And I think the other one, I already put the blueberries on over here, so I'm just gonna grab it. Okay, so let me check on the chocolate. So you just wanna grab a spoon after you've put it in for 30 seconds, and I can see sort of on the base of the bowl it's beginning to melt, but it's definitely going to need a bit more time, and it's certainly not over melted at this point. So I think I'll put it in for another full 30 seconds while I show you how I prep the apple. So actually you may want to work with an apple that's a little bit larger than this, but this is what I had, and I have a small heart cookie cutter. You don't have to use a cookie cutter at all, but because I have one in the shape that is good for our theme of Valentine's Day, I thought that I would use it. I'm going to cut horizontally, but as close to the core without getting the core as possible. And I got a tiny little piece in there that I'm just going to use my paring knife to sort of get out. Now I'm just going to leave that again now that my microwave went off, because it can kind of sit and the heat can distribute evenly, and then hopefully the chocolate's about ready for dipping. Now you're going to see it's a piece that I'm trying to get this heart shape to fit on. I just want to cut the back side off a little bit too, because I'm looking for these pieces not to have much peel. And there is no rhyme or reason to this. You can cut your fruit however you want and dip it. This is just how I'm creating what I think is a cute bouquet. So I'm lining up my cookie cutter. I'm going to cut through the apple. And I have a little bit of peel that I'm just going to trim off. So get those pieces off. It's got a cute scalloped edge, and I'm going to put it on one of these bamboo skewers as well. All right, let's check on our chocolate. So you see it's a bit more melted. I'm gonna give it a stir. Now you don't want it to be completely melted. You actually want to see some chips, because you'll notice as you're stirring, those whole chips begin to melt into the chocolate there. So I'm just gonna set this off to the side, continue to let the heat distribute a little bit, and I may give it less than 30 seconds, maybe about 10-15 seconds more when I finish up with the apple. So I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna cut as close to the core as possible, trying to get that flat, horizontal piece that I can put my cookie cutter down into easily. This one I ended up with no core, so that was good. I'm gonna take a little bit off the back just so it's easy to cut. Line up my cookie cutter, press down. It's really not too hard with this metal cookie cutter. Trim the peel again. And you could do this shape pretty easily with a piece of pineapple as well, I think. You could do melon. All right, I'm gonna put the apple on the skewer. And then I am all about not wasting as much fruit as possible. So I'm gonna turn the other two pieces, I'm just gonna cut this core out into just wedges on skewers. If you look at my bouquet, I have a couple of those here already. You might have to cut the core out a little bit using your paring knife. This one looks pretty good. And then the marshmallows, these straws I have are actually leftover from last year. I found them at the craft store. And you can easily put a marshmallow on one of these little themed straws if you find them. You could also use a bamboo skewer, but these are not going to work as well for the fruit, but they will go in something soft like a marshmallow. So those I'm just going to stick on. And I wanted to show you as well, I'm just using these semi-sweet chocolate chips today. Last year, I also had candy melts in the color pink. And you can find these in every color of the rainbow. You can probably buy them on Amazon. I haven't checked, but I believe I bought this at a craft store in the baking section last year. And my kids had a lot of fun with the different colors. You'll see if you look at my picture for the recipe for this particular project, you'll see that there are some items that were dipped in the pink color. And I didn't have any more of that to show you for the demo here today. All right, I'm gonna move this off to the side and just mix that chocolate one more time. It's actually looking very good, but I think I will give it just a couple more seconds in the microwave. So again, if I were to put this in for another 30 seconds, the chocolate may seize up and it wouldn't be as dippable anymore. So I'm gonna do no more than 10 seconds. It's just something you have to monitor. Be patient with it, and it sort of depends on the amount of chocolate you're using. Here today, I'm using about a cup of chocolate chips. All right, that's it. Because the more liquidy it is, the further your chocolate will go, but you don't want to reach that point of seizing up either. And you can also use the method of melting chocolate in a double boiler. I'm not going to show you that method here today or reference that in my recipe, but that's something you can look up as well. All right, let's take one of these apple hearts, and you're just going to kind of dip it in the chocolate, but also spoon some chocolate over it. I don't like to dip the piece of fruit completely. It could end up coming off the skewer. You don't want too much because then it's going to really start to drip, and it sort of needs to solidify a bit before you put it back in the bouquet. I'm going to go ahead and dip this one. I'll just do one side in my crushed almonds. And I kind of just look at it and see as I'm holding it upright, is the chocolate dripping or is it okay? Because you can see they're not really touching each other in this bouquet. So if I place it in here and it's able to stand up and not touch much else, it's going to dry just how I want it to. Now I will dip, of course it's going to touch something, that's okay. Now I'm going to pick a marshmallow, and I'm going to dip that in the chocolate, and I picked up some great Valentine's Day sprinkles. My kids had a lot of fun sprinkling these. You could also put them in a little bowl and they could mush the chocolate in there. I can open it. I'm gonna put some gold sprinkles over top. These chocolate dip marshmallows are really yummy. But again, I only have 4 marshmallows in here. The rest is all fruit. So if I mix in the chocolate and mix in the marshmallows, my kids end up eating quite a bit of fruit as a snack if I let the 2 of them share this. So again, I'm gonna try to get it to not touch too much. I'll show you a few more of these dipped so you get an idea of what the final product will look like. All right, this other apple got kissed by the one I put next to it, so might as well go ahead and dip it. And you know, this can get a little messy with the kids, but it's also a lot of fun, and it's a pretty quick project as well. And these don't have to look perfect. They also make a really nice gift. We were talking about if my parents visit for Valentine's Day, which they may, that maybe we would make one of these together to greet them when they arrive. All right, this one, see the chocolate's a little heavier, so it's dripping down. I'm gonna let that piece kind of just drip off. And you can kind of twirl it. You could also melt a little peanut butter, or you could melt some white chocolate and use a spoon to just sort of drizzle over the top like this. You could get as creative as you want. Or you could keep it as simple as you like as well. Let's put this one in the front so you can see it. So I'm gonna dip 1 strawberry and one of these apple wedges just so you can see that also. So this is kind of like a chocolate covered strawberry on a stick. This strawberry is a little soft, so I'm not gonna put, actually maybe I'll drizzle this one like I just talked about, so it doesn't get too heavy. And because I softened my chocolate just a little bit longer, it's staying nice and pliable for me. There, we have a drizzled chocolate strawberry that we're gonna put in the bouquet. And then finally, I'm gonna take an apple wedge and drizzle that with some chocolate. And let's do some heart sprinkles. This I just found at the regular grocery store, a variety of Valentine sprinkles. And it's a little heavy, so I'm gonna just kind of twirl it like I talked about to let it come down the edges and try to solidify a bit before I put it in my bouquet. If there's a little bit extra, we can knock it off. And there you have it. So you can see what the effect would be if you went around and dipped all these pieces or a few more. I hope that you enjoy trying this craft and that you have a very happy Valentine's Day. Enjoy the edible Valentine's Day bouquet.